What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here, and in this video I want to talk about build crafting. Last March I made a video talking about how to build craft in Destiny 2, and that video performed very well. I went over all the ins and outs of build crafting in that video, and I think it is still a useful resource to this day. But that video is almost a half hour long, so some people might get a little overwhelmed or the info may get drowned out thanks to information overload. So in this video, I just want to talk about one aspect of build crafting that I think is the most critical, but you don't see it talked about enough. To be a good build crafter, you must craft around the content. I don't see anyone really talking about this outside of me and Chablo91. We understand that there is no one-size-fits-all build in Destiny, outside of Consecration Titan of course, but that shit's extremely broken, but to get the most out of it, you still have to know what you're doing if you want to use it in GMs. Expert build crafters already know that you have to craft around the content, but I feel the vast majority of the player base doesn't do this or think about this. They just go to YouTube and click on a build with the most views. It has the most views, right? So it must be good. This is false. I'm working on a different video about clickbait build content, but in this one, I just want to focus on the fact that you have to build around the encounter. I've talked about this in other videos, but I love Point Contact Cannon Brace Titan for certain GMs. But in something like Arms Dealer, where there are long sightlines and not much CQC, you will get fried trying to run it. Where in something like Fallen Saber or Birthplace of the Vile, it works beautifully. Or even content like Onslaught or Tomb of Elders. So for my example clip, I'm going to be showing my friend Sutek two-phasing the Corrupted Puppeteer, and talk about how he constructed this build perfectly to be fully optimized for damage. Yes, this build could do well in other content, but I'm going to specifically focus on how every mod and fragment selection that he made has a distinct purpose. Alright, so here is Sutek's running loadout. He of course has Consecration with Frenzied Blade to give him 3 consecrations. He has a Trace Rifle with Overflow so he never has to reload it, and it's double special, so when he makes a loadout swap for damage, he's not going to lose any ammo. And then he has Indebted Kindness. This is because he uses it during damage, so again, just to not lose ammo. Backup mag Surrounded, because you're often surrounded during damage. And then Lead from Gold, so he won't be hurting for ammo. And then Anarchy, so he can have constant tick damage on the boss. And again, he's using this in his running loadout so he doesn't lose any heavy. Then he has Arc Siphon, Heavy Ammo Finder, and Stasis Siphon. This will give him orbs, which is crucial when we get further down. Obviously he has 100 resilience, 100 discipline, and 90 strength as well, so he's really optimized with his stats. And then he's using the Heart of Inmost Light with Syntheseps on the exotic class item. Hoyle will actually give him a quicker cooldown on the clones, as you'll see. Triple heavy-handed, this reduces the orb cooldown on a powered melee kill from 10 seconds to 5 seconds to 1 second. Melee damage resistance, because those puppeteers will melee you, and then all the minor adds and stuff, including the boss that's in the room, they all shoot arc, so he's got double arc resist. And then recuperation, so every time he makes an orb, which he's making all the time with melee kills or with his siphon mods, he's going to get a chunk of health back, which is crucial. Arc Scavenger, because his 2 main weapon sources are Anarchy and Indebted Kindness for weapon damage, so this will just help him in between phases go into the boss phase with full ammo. And then he's got Bomber, so that when he uses his thruster he'll get a chunk of Glacier Grenade energy. Special Ammo Finisher, so that he can make special, and then Arc Scavenger will help him pick up more special. And it also will fill up his Trace Rifle as well. And then Powerful Attraction, so that if he is in a jam and is low on health, he can dodge, and that will pick up any nearby orbs to give him recuperation. So I'll just show him running the build here. And so one thing with Heart of Inmost Light, if you didn't know, is it actually reduces the cooldown of the puppet. Look how fast he gets his puppet back. So he's already got it back, and that's thanks to Hoyle. So he can take everything out. Now he pre-pops in anticipation, and there again you can see he gets the clone super quickly. So he can take out the overshields on those puppets as they spawn in. Again, he's not hurting for health at all. There he gets a little low. He does a melee to proc knockout. Also knockout will drop orbs. So yeah, his survivability is just off the charts here, and I kind of talked about why. So now we will skip close to damage, and hopefully I can pause it on the part where he's switching to his loadout. So he's going up. So here is his loadout. So he has double hands-on. This will help him get his super quicker. He only has 30 intellect, so his third thing is actually Font of Wisdom. So that's going to take him from 30 intellect passive to 60 passive. Then he has double hands-on. So every time he gets a melee kill, basically if he gets a melee kill, then there's only a 5-second cooldown to make an orb. Triple would give 1, but he's not getting a ton of melee kills. He's using his melee a lot on the boss for damage. So then an arc loader, which is crucial to reload Anarchy and Indebted Kindness. He has the Glacier Grenade to apply a stasis debuff in slow or freeze to the boss, which with crystalline conductive cosmic crystal or whatever the hell it's called, that will buff his T-Crash. He's using Curse of the Falling Star. If you didn't know, Curse, when you have Amplified, melee kills will give you more super energy. So when he gets knockout, that will proc Amplified, and then as he's killing those puppets, he's getting even more super energy. He's got auto-loading Vorpal. Vorpal is good because it's consistent 15% extra damage to the boss at all times, and it has auto-loading, so he never has to auto-load it. And then Concussive Reload will apply a debuff to the boss. And then Surrounded is really nice because all those corrupted puppets, I believe he has this enhanced, so I think it's like a 47% damage boost, so that's crucial. But then again, he's got the arc loader, so that will reload his Indebted Kindness, though Concussive Reload can also reload for him. Then triple Arc Surge, of course, to get the maximum damage, and then he's able to make orbs, like I said, with hands-on, and then triple Time Dilation just to make those armor charges last as long as possible. So this is perfectly set up. He swaps right before boss damage, so now his armor charge is counting down. He applies the debuff. He sticks to Anarchy. That's so he'll have the damage over time. So he's got 2 damage over time sources. Then he throws the Glacier Grenade. This is applying Conductive Cosmic Crystal, which he has enhanced. So I think it's a 10% damage boost to your arc abilities, including Thunder Crash. Plus it's being boosted by Curse of the Falling Star. Then he follows up with a quick melee. This does 2 things. I didn't even really talk about his loadout, but I think I can pull it over on dim here. So let's actually look at his loadout, because that's crucial too. Facet of Purpose, picking up an Orb of Power grants either Amplified. So this again is giving him Amplified when he picks up an orb, and then that is good because when he gets melee kills, that's going to give him more super energy, because he's trying to optimize to have 3 supers in 1 damage phase. That's how you can put out so much damage. And to be honest, I didn't even look at this before I started this commentary, so I'm kind of figuring it out as I go as well. But then Facet of Courage, your Arc, Solar, and Void abilities deal increased damage to targets afflicted with darkness debuffs. So again, that's buffing his T-Crash, just like Conductive Cosmic Crystal. So he's getting 2 sources of enhancing his super damage, which is crucial. Facet of Protection, 15% damage resist while surrounded. You're pretty often surrounded, so this is helping his survivability so that he doesn't die during damage. Facet of Balance, rapidly defeating targets with light damage grants melee energy. Defeating targets with darkness damage grants grenade energy. When he's doing his Consecration, that's going to be granting him even more melee energy, so he has more Consecration slams, which is crucial to his damage. And then Facet of Dawn, every time he's doing those Consecrations, he's getting Radiant. So he has triple Arc Surge, but then he also has Facet of Dawn for another 25% weapon damage bonus to his grenades and his sidearm. So that's perfect. Oh, and that's the other thing. So that follow-up melee, it's doing 2 things. It's proccing Radiant for those weapons he pre-shot, but it's also severing the boss, which again helps with survivability, because now the boss's damage output is lowered. So now he's popping Transcendence, which is another 5% damage bonus. So he shoots the boss with his damage over time GL, and then he's following up with a melee right away to kill that guy. And look at the big chunk of super damage, because again, he's got double hands on, and then he's got that Curus bonus. So now he's reapplying his Anarchy, keeps throwing Transcendence grenades whenever they're off cooldown just to apply Jolt and just for more damage. Now rotating, gets a consecration slam. So again, right there, because he's got transcendence, he's getting his melees back really quickly. So he wants to use his melee whenever he can, but he can't do it when the floor is orange because he could die. And then he follows up. Again, now it's just all about spamming just kind of everything. So there, he's not even getting surrounded on his sidearm, which is fine. So now he's backtracking. He wants to use, so right there, yeah, he was waiting for the boss to move. So he's letting his Transcendence run out. And now it's Glacier Grenade time, and he's already got his super back. Because that's the other thing, damage over time effects, like his GL and Anarchy, give huge super returns. So this is perfect. He's got his super. He's leaving those enemies up so that he can get super energy back once he casts his T-Crash again, which is really smart. A lot of people might have been tempted to kill them there. Not sure if that hit for Conductive Cosmic Crystal, but either way, that's definitely what he was going for. Now he's surrounded, so he's getting more damage on his Indebted Kindness. Follows up with another melee to sever the boss, picking that up. So one thing you could do, so he's obviously one of the best players in the world, so he doesn't need to do this. He can run triple Arc Surge, but he does have an orb on the ground here. You could easily get by with 2 Arc Surges and 1 Recuperation to help with your survivability, because see, he picks up an orb here, and then that would have given him a big chunk of health so that he can get there. But again, Faceted Protection is helping with that damage resistance, and I didn't even pay attention. Let me just look at the dim. So yeah, he's got Harmonic Resistance, which is Arc Resist, then he's got Arc Resist and Melee Resist for the damage phase, which is like definitely what you want to run there. So now he's going to pop Transcendence right before coming out. This is going to give him all his abilities. His focus is getting damage over time on the boss as soon as he can. So he shoots the GL and the Anarchy shots at the boss. I thought he would have done a Sever melee, but that's fine because, let's just see. So he's got, so here he's still got Radiant. Yeah, so he just did one, so he didn't need to burn a Sever melee, but it might have been smart. But either way, he was just doing that follow-up melee because when the boss slams, it's going to boop you back. But if you melee exactly as he slams, it's going to keep you in place, which he obviously wants to do. Now he's getting another Consecration. Now the boss is going to TP. This is perfect. He's got enemies all surrounding him. Follows up with another big melee that does a lot of damage and it kills enemies. So again, he's getting a lot of super energy. Unfortunately, he had to reload his Anarchy. So a bit of a damage loss, but no big deal. And then again, his Transcendence is running out at a really good time. So that as he's getting his super, he has the Glacier Grenade ready to go. Using the Frenzied Blade for movement, throws it on the boss. And yeah, so this whole build is tailored around being able to get 3 supers in 1 damage phase. And you can see he times it absolutely perfectly. And yeah, just over half damage, which is great. And then again, he just does the exact same thing. That's something I also didn't really talk about, but he's storing Armor Charge with that special finisher as well. So going into damage, you can see he only has 21 Anarchy, but it's not a big deal. But that's why you run Arc Scavenger, so those heavy bricks, you're getting the most mileage out of them. And then again, get the debuff, get the Anarchy, throw the grenade, do the T-Crash, follow up with that for Radiant and severing the boss. Pop your Transcendence immediately so that Transcendence runs out by the time you're getting another T-Crash so that you can... throw the Glacier Grenade, because Prismatic always gives you all your abilities back when you come out of it. Now he's just doing Consecration spam, which is really good because it does a ton of damage. And that's how he's getting his super so quickly, because he's outputting so much damage between damage over time, Consecrations, everything else. There, he's getting it. You could see he was waiting on it. It was like so freaking close. Because yeah, his area denial GL misses a little bit here. Not a big deal, nothing you can do. That's just the nature of those weapons. But yeah, he's super close, gets the debuff on. Again, the double T-crash in the first set of the phase, and now just doing as much damage as he can before having to go into the side room. Get a nice consecration. Look at the amount of super energy he gets here. He's amplified, big melee, takes out 2 boss type targets with a consecration. So now he's almost halfway to super at this point, which is what you need. So to do this, I'm sure it took him obviously more than one try to like get the rotation down and stuff, but some of it is RNG too, just with the way the boss is moving and all those things. So you have to remember that. But even still, the point of this was to talk about how you have to design your builds around the encounter. This build would go super hard in like a GM or whatever and allow you to spam a whole bunch of, oh wait, so here, so yeah, he is still waiting. So this is actually pretty smart too. He's still in Prismatic, so he doesn't want to do his T-crash because it's not going to be buffed by Conductive Cosmic Crystal, which again is like a 10% buff, and you need like every ounce of damage you can get to two-phase this guy. So what he does here is really smart. He's doing consecrations, which are obviously huge damage, while he has Transcendence. And then now he gets the Glacier Grenade, and you can see does a ton of damage. And then he just finishes the boss off with the sidearm. So yeah, what I was saying was, yeah, this build could go hard, but in a GM or something, you would obviously change like certain things depending on the encounter. You'd obviously be changing your loadout to deal with champions. So yes, this build is very, very good, but you can see he doesn't even have like Overload GL on, which again is fine. But you couldn't just slap this exact build on and expect to like demolish every GM boss, because certain GM bosses, you're not going to have all those enemies around to get all those T-crashes like he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Maybe kind of a bad example, but the point is to just talk about how you have to tailor your builds around the content and around what you're trying to accomplish. So yeah, that's basically it. I've talked about it before, but the Ignition Dawn Chorus build I made well over a year ago was so good in certain Battleground GMs because enemies would stack up on each other and you had long sight lines to plink away with Polaris Lance from a distance. If you took that exact build into Birthplace of the Vile, it wouldn't perform nearly as well because it's more of a CQC type Nightfall. But that is what I wanted to stress. Just because something looks good and works good in one piece of content doesn't mean it's a one-size-fits-all solution for every type of content. Anyways, like the video if you found it helpful, and subscribe for more informative Destiny 2 content. And if you're still watching, thanks so much for watching to the end. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.